Hello, my name is Jessica Ney, and I teach 8th grade history at Excelsior Academy. My video session is about creating homework routines. We'll discuss some of the common challenges, as well as the benefits of having a homework routine, and then I'll give you some suggestions on how to create a routine that is effective for your family, and hopefully set your student up for success. As a parent myself, I understand that homework can sometimes be a daunting task for everybody involved, and so the goal of this video is to hopefully take away some of those stresses and set you guys up for success. Obviously, homework comes with challenges. Some of the common challenges that I've seen are procrastination, distractions, getting distracted easily, time management skills, using their time wisely, feeling overwhelmed or stressed about either the subject or the amount of homework that they have, poor study habits, difficulty staying organized, and a general lack of motivation. So through this video, the suggestions I give will hopefully overcome these challenges. First, I'd like to talk about the benefits of having a homework routine. The Journal of Educational Psychology actually did a study about having homework routines and compared students who had a routine and consistently followed it versus those who did not, and the amount of benefits were astounding. First, talking about the benefits, they said that it builds consistency and improves academic performance. Students who had a consistent routine perform better academically than those who do not. It also helps them to develop time management skills. They learn to prioritize tasks and manage their time more effectively. And it will also help them to take those skills into the future and use those in their jobs and as adults as well. It will reduce the amount of stress that students have and the anxiety that can sometimes accompany homework. Just having predictability helps make homework less overwhelming. It will reduce procrastination. Knowing there's a set time, set expectations, and a schedule for doing that homework will make them prioritize that instead of putting it off until last minute. It will enhance learning retention at school. And studies have shown that students who have that regular routine will also retain the knowledge that they're learning at school. They regularly practice it at home, and they're able to understand it a little bit better, know what questions they might have, and retain what they've learned both at school as well as during their homework time at home. It will help them to build responsibility. When a student takes ownership of their learning, it's going to help foster independence. It's going to foster accountability. And it will improve their focus and engagement at school as well. Like I mentioned, if they're regularly exhibiting homework routines, then they're going to have higher engagement at school and concentration and understand the subject a little bit better. It will also help increase their motivation and self-discipline. Students who maintain a structured homework schedule develop greater self-discipline and intrinsic motivation, that inside motivation that comes with seeing the benefits. Students eventually start to realize and recognize the benefits that of having that routine and sticking to that routine, and eventually they'll start to feel a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment for getting their homework done on time. For parents, there's a lot of benefits as well. It's going to help open communication between you and your student. You'll be able to talk to them about schoolwork, see where they might have challenges, as well as what they're learning about, and maybe where they're succeeding and seeing success at school. And that can open up communication for a lot of other things in their life as well. You'll have increased engagement. You'll know what they're learning. You'll know the topics that they're talking about in each of their classes. And again, maybe where they're struggling, where they might need help, or where they're succeeding and seeing that achievement. It's going to help encourage independence. It might be at first, you might have to check in on them regularly, but eventually it's going to increase their independence and they'll be able to sit down and follow that routine on their own. You'll have less last-minute scrambling. I've been in that situation where my child comes and tells me that they have a project due the next morning and we are not prepared to get that done. And I know the stress that accompanies that. So having a homework routine and sticking to it usually will alleviate some of that last minute scrambling. Their homework will be on their mind, they'll know what they need to accomplish, and they'll have a set time to do it instead of waiting till right before bedtime or something. And overall, it's going to create more quality family time, a more balanced lifestyle. They'll have time for extracurricular activities. You guys will have time to spend more time as a family playing games or just enjoying each other's company. Next, let's talk about creating a homework routine and how to do that as a family. First, I suggest that you involve your child. Involving your child is going to help them hopefully be more willing to follow that routine, and it's also going to teach them how to plan and organize their time so that as they grow up, they'll know how to create schedules and study routines that will help them throughout high school and college and maybe even beyond. Make sure you set a specific time and the whole family follows that schedule and understands that that time is set aside for homework. Designate a study space, and we'll talk more about study spaces in just a moment. Having a designated study space can promote a focused mindset at home as well. Make sure you break it down, maybe into chunks. If your child needs breaks, you can say, let's do 25 minutes of work and then a 5-minute break before we continue, and whatever works best for you and your family. And then help them to prioritize tasks. Maybe put the most important or the most challenging work first when their energy is higher, and break it down little by little as they work through that routine. And then make a checklist. I found that for my daughter especially, checklists help her to feel accomplished. She sees exactly what she needs to have done right in front of her, and as she checks each item off, then she's able to feel accomplished and feel like she's actually getting her homework done and feel that sense of pride of finishing her homework. Also, with that checklist, you can help them to prioritize. You can decide what tasks should be completed first. And then stay flexible. I know that life happens, and so sometimes you do have to change your homework routine, and don't let that be something that throws everybody for a curve and stresses everybody out. Just have a plan for when that happens. Now let's talk about some ways to set up a designated homework space. First, start by choosing a quiet location in your home. Set up a designated desk or even just a table, and keep supplies handy. You can use organizers and containers to keep those supplies handy, and in a moment I'll show you some examples of what you could use. Also, make sure you maintain good lighting. That way your student can stay focused and see better as they're working. Also, minimize clutter so they're less distracted. Incorporate a calendar or a planner. You can use something like Google Calendar to share that calendar with each other. I especially suggest utilizing the student binder at school. Middle school provides a student binder to each student at the beginning of the year, and I'll walk you through some of the pages in that binder in just a moment as well. Let your student add personal touches, maybe some motivational quotes or other things, or they can choose the color of highlighters that they want to have, something fun to make them look forward to homework a little bit. And last, make sure that they utilize technology wisely. There's pros and cons to having technology. It can be a place where they can find a wealth of information, but just make sure they understand that homework time is not time for watching videos or getting distracted on technology. I'm going to show you a few examples that I like of homework spaces. This is if you have room for a desk in your home. I like the containers that they use. All of the things that they need for their students to complete their work is right there at hand. They've added a few personal touches to each side. This student has a checklist because maybe that's what helps them most. Or maybe in your bedroom, in a student's bedroom, where they can focus and get away from the family for a moment, away from the chaos of the family for a moment to work on their homework. But some people don't have space for that. Even just the kitchen table will work. That's actually where my kids do their homework. At the kitchen table, we have a bin that we bring out that has pencils, calculators, erasers, rulers, everything you can imagine that they might possibly need for their homework. And when that bin is on the table, then that is designated homework time. And it's easy to move and clean up when homework time is over. So these are some examples of some of those bins. These items can be found easily at the dollar store or Walmart or Amazon, and they're really not very expensive, and it helps keep it organized. Also, it helps keep it portable, and it's not just one set space if you don't have the room for a desk or something like that. I really liked this picture. I actually found this on the internet. They use tri-fold posters to create separators between the children, and that might be something that you need if your child easily gets distracted by their sibling. And they can also add those fun personal touches to their tri-fold posters. This is the student binder. In the student binder, we have an area for important notes and login information for maybe Google Classroom or other sites that they may use where they can write all that information down. We have a calendar. There's a monthly calendar. They can write maybe important dates there. I also like that there's a place to put their goals for the month, and that might be part of your homework routine. You sit down once a month and talk about the goals that your student has, maybe no missing work in a certain subject, or to increase their grade percentage in a subject, and they can write that down and work towards it throughout the month. We also have a weekly calendar as well, and I like this because there's a space for every single class each day. So it goes through Monday through Friday and each class period, where they can write down what homework they have for the day, or even just write that they have no homework, because sometimes that is a good feeling to know that you don't have any homework. The student binders get messy. Embarrassingly, this is my son's student binder, and I see this a lot at the middle school, and they usually just shove all of their papers right in that front folder. And so part of starting a homework routine, a good idea would be to sit down and help them organize that and learn how to use it a little more efficiently. This was prior to organizing it with my son. There are tabs provided for each class at the beginning or the front of the folder. You can see which tab is designated to which subject. And after we organized it, he's a lot more organized at home, and I know he's a lot more organized at school. It's easier for him to find his assignments and homework that he's working on because it's all slipped into the right place. So this is actually his ELA tab, and he's able to find anything he needs for that class now that his binder is a lot more organized. To support homework completion at home, make sure that you as the parent establish regular check-ins. They might be frequent at first. You might have to check in every 5 minutes and then increase that to every 10 minutes. And eventually it's going to lead to more independence where maybe it's every 20 minutes that you have to check in on them. And with those check-ins, you can offer support and offer any help that they might possibly need. Encourage that independence though. Let them learn to work on their own. It's a good skill to have throughout life. And have them practice self-assessment. That means double checking their work and maybe looking at some of the suggestions. I know on Google Classroom, teachers often put tutorials on how to complete things. And so maybe check their work there. But again, as a parent, offer that support. And if they do need help, then step in and help them. And then maintain an open dialogue. Let them talk about it. If they are frustrated about something, let them tell you about that frustration. Or if they're excited about something, then talk about it and see what excites them about that subject. And lastly, celebrate their achievements. We'll talk about motivation in just a moment, but having your parents celebrate your achievements with you, celebrating the grit that you had to get through that hard math homework, or seeing the success that you're having at school can really motivate and help you feel good about yourself as well. Speaking of motivation, my last slide is about ways you can motivate students at home. First, set up a reward system. If that's something that your family is interested in doing, it does not have to be extravagant. It can be small rewards like extra screen time, or maybe working towards a bigger prize. So find out what works best for your family and implement some kind of a reward system. Also, just recognition. We often talk about the power of praise and positive praise and how that can really uplift a person. And so recognize your students' hard work and help them to feel that pride and sense of pride in themselves. And then give them shout outs. Talk about them at dinner, or give them a shout out for working hard on their homework that day. Little things like that can really go a long way. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you have seen the benefits of having a homework routine, and I hope you can utilize some of the suggestions that I have to create that homework routine in your own family.